Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm in the middle of a game, as you can imagine. Technology not cooperating too well with us today. I had a mic accident, and now another issue. Two bishops. Wow, he just does that. Mate with two bishops in the middle of the board. Who said that? Still, he hasn't resolved the pin situation here. And I was thinking is always dangerous. Wow. What's going on around here? I get nervous whenever I play World Loser because he's always putting me in some kind of time pressure. Bishop takes. God, one would think I had a monster position here. But it's like he's defending everything. Two bishops, his king out of the middle of the board, and there's nothing I can do. And he's faster. He always has more time, no matter how bad his position is. That's pretty crazy. What am I thinking? I don't know. Alright, I'll just get this bishop out of the way. We are better here, but the time is not cooperating. Now it looks like we're finally up and running with microphone, camera, and video of the board. Surprisingly. Alright, where is my time going again? You just centralize everything to the maximum. But it's always just about time with this guy. He's just creating a kind of fortress. Someone just randomly started hammering on the roof of my building. Should I exchange on d1 first, I wonder? There's certain dark square weaknesses in this position. Very hesitant style hammering. Sorry for the silence, but I'm paralyzed with fear. Plus I had to fix everything in the middle of the game. Yes, dude, just hammer some random shit on the roof. Just what we need. It's better, actually, there's no ambulances this morning. It's very strange. Like, I've been streaming for almost 35 minutes, and I haven't heard one screaming ambulance siren. It further supports my theory that there's, like, ambulance training on some days. There's no way that really, like, that many ambulances would have to go in the morning at the same time. World Loser, what's up? You're in time pressure. Oh no. We have a mate here? No mate. Oh no. That was defended. The valiant effort at the end. Alright. 5 challenges. Mule Skinner Akram. Stop Try Harding. King Wiki and Potato Master. No sirens. It's very strange. It really is, man. I'm telling you. There's something going on around here. I mean, there's no way, like, one day there's, like, 8 ambulances in a row, and the next day there's none. Like, that's just totally bogus. Alright. Mule Skinner. Unusual opening stream today, so we've got to try to play different stuff. We're not going to go with the F3 or other absurdities like H4, G4. I like to play H4 when I'm on Rage Tilt and just really angry and lost 100 games in a row and I want to just get revenge on someone. But I actually prefer H4 to G4. I don't do the grob, you know. It weakens too many squares. I'd rather play like H4 or Knight H3, some move that doesn't compromise my position as badly as G4. But no, seriously, we're going to play something, try to play something a little more serious. World Loser with the F3. Ugh. Mule Skinner, dude, branch out a little bit, man, you know. Sometimes it's weird Wednesday. You could try to play something a little different. But anyway, so E6. Let's play F4, man. I mean, whatever. It's Mule Skinner's favorite move. He likes the Grand Prix attack. Now Knight C3. F4 against the French. It's not really recommended. I guess it's a kind of transposition to a Dunst opening. The toilet variation. This is not the toilet variation that's in the Grand Prix when you play Knight C3. Yeah, so here we just played something quiet like D3, I guess, but F4 makes more sense. Actually, I never I never played Knight C3 too much against Mule Skinner in the French. I think I played mostly lately Knight D2 and some advanced variation. But way back when, I must have played a classical French with him. I don't recall that though. Does Mule Skinner even play the classical French, or does he play the Winnower? It's a good question. Let's see. So here, normally I play the main line like classical French, d4. But it's really like a mainline opening, so I feel like with Weird Wednesday we should try to branch out a bit. What other options do we really have? Something like g3, knight ce2. Turn it into a kind of King's Indian attack, closed Sicilian type of thing. Neil Skinner wouldn't know anything about that, right? One thing to note is that it's often good to get Queen G4 in before Knight F3. Whoa. Plucro, are you talking about E5, C3, Knight A3, D3, etc.? You mean like the big clamp type of structure? Preemptively retreating my knight. Going to a King's Indian type formation. Neil Skinner only plays the French, it seems like. His favorite defense to e4. I don't think I've ever met anyone whose repertoire was the French defense and the French defense and the Benko. I mean, that's really like polar opposites. One is like super open and kind of risky in spirit, and the other is ultra solid and closed. I was actually delaying, so I was toying with bishop h3, but I don't think that's going to be good. It can be done sometimes in this type of structure. Actually, I should have played maybe knight f3. Once I saw Igor Foigl do that, he stuck his bishop out on h3. This is a guy who like studied all of Petrosian's games, and he's a huge Petrosian clone. But I'm not sure this is exactly the right structure for that. Not fair to call Foigl a Petrosian clone. But there's a lot of people who are Petrosian clones. Petrosian clone. I wanted to get something like a little bit offbeat. I mean, obviously I could have played the main line, classical French after knight fd7. I mean, that wouldn't be... It's something I've played against strong players. I remember I played with Peter Kiriakov once, and I beat Mark Quinn. So the only good players, I think the draw was with Kiriakov. Only a few times I've played this opening. I feel pretty good in the white side of the classical. Not as confident with the white side of the winnower. And that's... Of course, I never really played a white side of a winnower against a really strong player. I generally avoid the people who play the French. Could take lifetimes to learn how to play either side of the winnower. We have a Hungarian Grandmaster here in Budapest. He's getting old now. Farago Ivan. He's a huge winnower expert. But I never really learned the theory deeply enough. I'm very scared of all the theory in the winnower. I mean, it's so much to learn. It's like a Najdorf for other opening. Queen b6. We could play d4. But I mean, why don't I just castle here? I'm not afraid of d4. And Neil Skinner is a player who doesn't like to commit himself to kingside castling. Much the same that I would do, although I'm not a French defense player. I'm just trying to suppress an allergic sort of sneeze here. It's Wednesday, the 10th of May. 1 week from today, I'm going to be going to Zalakaros, really good open tournament here in Hungary. Yeah, I mean, he's trying to just keep flexible and keep the options open for like castling queenside or something. I guess I might as well just play king h1. Ultimately, the pawn structure dictates that white's plan should be to play like f4, f5, and black's plan should be to play on his strong side, I guess. Queenside where he has more space. But in practice, you know, oftentimes it's hard to actually execute these things. I'm going to play d3. It's basically a King's Indian type position. It looks like a Mar del Plata structure for me, with my knight coming back from c3 to e2. It's like the Mar del Plata against the French defense. So one of those questions in chess is like, should you weaken the queen side with a4? Probably only makes things worse. What would a strong grandmaster play here with white? My e5 pawn is not really sufficiently supported, so whenever I try to play f5, this is going to drop. What would Maxime play here? He would be playing for f5, but I don't see how I can really just sack a pawn here. I'm not that well developed. Maybe better developed than him, though. I mean, f5, knight takes e5, I'm trying to break through at f7 or e6. His queen has good defensive capability. I mean, I'm just thinking, there was a game not that long ago in the Grand Key tournament where Vacher, in a similar structure, played for f5 against him. I can't remember. He lost, maybe against Nidich. Yeah, it was Vacher against Nidich is the game I'm thinking of. Totally different opening, but a French type position where he prematurely tried to do f5 or something like that. All right, whatever. We have to do something. I don't see that f5 right away would be really sound. Maybe I should just be more patient with some quiet move. Like Mule Skinner would probably play bishop d2. It's not a move I'm really that enthused about, but it would be better than most. g4 is kind of weak, honestly. I thought maybe, well, we'll put our knight on g3. If he plays h5, I can take. Rook takes knight g3 with the idea of f5. Once again, maybe trying to sacrifice a pawn for open lines. The f-file space. Well, the problem with like knight g5, okay, I'm going to have to be careful. I don't like c4. Looks like something I would do. And then immediately regret it. Because I can play d4 and just lock down my e5 pawn. Now I'm ready to play f5. And the battle lines are drawn. I mean, the most combative move is probably h5 here, as I was mentioning. Proxima talked about knight g5, but the thing is with knight g5, I mean, I might be losing a pawn. But it's still an interesting idea. He can kick me back with h6. Nothing else. Well, f6. This is kind of crazy. Black definitely going against principles here. He's got less space on this side, and he's attacking the head of my pawn chain. That looks really, really risky for black. Unfortunately, bishop e3 would lose a pawn. I can't develop in that way. So we have lots of good moves. What's he going to do? He's going to go g5 or something? I mean, okay. I was even delaying c3, but honestly, I mean, I'm not thinking he's got that much play. Mule Skinner is just in heaven here. He's gonna play it like a King's Indian. It looks like a bayonet attack on the other side of the board. Now f5. But if you do that, I'm gonna keep the pawn. and I'll prepare a peace sacrifice to ruin your life. Yeah, it's basically a King's Indian. On the other side, bayonet attack. Man, my king is in the wrong place. Maybe I should consider taking on f6. Not letting it get completely locked up. It's a Tigrin kind of game. Yeah, man, I can't stand playing Mule Skinner. It's like... this guy is crazy with the closed positions. I think we have to go crazy ourselves here. Interesting chess, but try to destroy his coordination. It's the same thing I would do oftentimes in the King's Indian. A piece sacrifice on the pawn chain for two or three nuggets. Basically, how many pawns am I getting for the exchange here? Exchange. This is not an exchange. This is a full piece. But anyway, you get the point. Black's coordination is suspect. Two pawns for a piece. Two very mobile buddy system. Well, am I just not winning a piece here? No, I'm hallucinating. Wow, this is protected. Good. Anyway, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Maybe I should play f5 first there. This doesn't really matter, I guess. The concept of coordination. Coordination. Hard for Black to coordinate. These pawns are just messing with his world. Taking away all the squares of his pieces. These 4 or 5 pieces. Unable to really function. Ah. What in the world is going on? In general, I think giving back material makes sense, but here... So he's kind of like trying to enliven his white square bishop. I could take bishop takes rook on h6. Maybe that would be better, huh? Seriously? I could have played that and I didn't. That's really dumb. All right. Significant improvement on the other line, most likely. So we're up a pawn and we have... what is going on? Oh no, I walked into this. Oh my god. I did. Oh my god, I walked into the only trick he had. Wow, that's so sick. It was literally the only trick he had. Man. I was totally winning. I could have taken his rook for free. What is with me, man? Maybe I'm still better, but it's not that clear. That's kind of optimistic. I really thought he was going to play knight takes knight there. Okay, I don't understand this. Oh, he just does this. Okay, I don't know what's going on anymore. I made pretty much the wrong choice at every turn. Dude, you're winning by force with queen h6 check. King g3, queen g5 check. This was just a disaster, man. I need to wake up. Wow. And still, you know, still not that easy. Lucky to be alive. Accurate last. Taking that with check. Alright. So it's material equality, of course. Like, it was such a close game. I mean, you know, it was perfectly played by both sides. Okay. Does anybody know what's going on around here? This is craziness. All right. Maybe like the worst game I ever played on the stream in terms of like center pawn loss. I don't want to know. It's probably like 250 for both sides. Let's just pretend that never happened. Akram 4. At least I can see tactics. Mule Skinner, we both had like 100,000 wins that nobody managed to find. Alright, this is Weird Wednesday. We're trying to play unusual openings. Trying being the important word there. It was pretty bad. That game I just want to take back. All right. Yeah, I want to try this. I have a teammate who plays this opening with white. I'm not supposed to play knight f3, am I? Am I supposed to play knight? Am I supposed to play pawn takes pawn there? I'm supposed to play pawn takes pawn, then knight f3. Whoops. Is that the more accurate move order? I've only occasionally played Bird's opening. Our former moderator, Jeroen, was here earlier, and only he would really know. There was a rumor I've never lost on the stream with f4. But I'm not sure if that's just a rumor or if it's true. It would be funny if it was true. We'd have to like hire someone to research all my games. Can you search that? Like all the games I played with one f4? There's no way to do that, right? I think I'm trying to remember something that's not the same position here. My Budapest, actually both my teams, there's this guy Martin Prorock, who's a FIDE master from Hungary, and he plays on my team. He plays really absurd openings, but he's a good player tactically. He had a game with Janos Sabolci not that long ago in one of these lines, but I couldn't remember. Maybe I'm supposed to play. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to play takes, bishop takes, knight f3, g5, d4. Now I remember. And then how does it go? Yeah, okay. g4. And normal theory is knight e5, but Prorock played knight g5. It's really strange. I guess there aren't too many alternatives here. He's given up his dark squared bishop. And we have a bad structure. Our king is in the center, and our rook is... Actually, our rook is not a problem. We have a bad structure. Our king is in the center. His king is in the center too. I can't castle kingside. But I still feel like I might be okay here. No, I'm supposed to take on d6 and play knight f3 and d4 after. I guess this isn't as good. Although I'm not sure that Akram played the best line. I mean, makes sense though. I mean, he wins his pawn back. I think that a lot of players would play more like long-term pawn sacrifice here. Black definitely has alternatives to giving up this bishop. I guess the way that Black played here is okay, but there are other styles of and ways to play the position. But I'm so sorry that I didn't play the line, because I wanted to get into this really cool position. I had an idea I suggested to Prorock, which was take, bishop takes, knight f3, g5, which is main line, d4, g4, knight e5. Was it knight e5? Or no, knight g5. Oh, I know what it was. Okay, I take it all back. Takes, bishop takes, knight f3, g5, and now not d4, and not g3, which is the main line, but c3. The Danish Grandmaster Danielson has played this. d3. With the idea of queen a4 check and like the king evacuating to d1. Alright, after much thought, we have the surprising queen takes e5. I mean, we need to mobilize. It's kind of tempting for Black to play something stupid like queen c5 here. But that looks odd. we're obviously not really interested in taking that pawn. White with a very small structural problem here. Very small. So anyway, after the game I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. This is a really interesting variation. Because I don't play f4 enough to know about that. Oh my god. You have to be kidding me. Come on now. What? Really? That's convenient. Is that like perfect play? Fuck. Excuse me. Oh my god, I just lose a piece. There's bishop e5 check. I guess that's our only hope. What it does is beyond me. So this just served no purpose. That's the beauty of a weird Wednesday and unusual openings. We get fantastic positions like this that never would have been normally seen in my games. Just losing a piece here, and I think bishop e5 check may have just helped him. Ultimately, all of this does is help black develop. Just down a piece for nothing. All right, I'm just going to resign here. I mean, I don't really see a reason to continue. I mean, we've got what? Real compensation here. Not really. We could play off for the sake of the chess fans. But I mean, how am I even going to save that piece if I had another move to do it? You know what I mean? It's just going to be... He can take it whenever he wants. This is just move on to a new game. Akram beat me for the second time. Yeah, I mean this is not as good. I should just take on d6. Statistically, it seems to score okay. I don't know what the difference is really. But the line I wanted to play was this. And here d4. No, sorry, c3. It's very rarely played. This looks promising for white, actually. Well, it's not like I trapped my own bishop, man. I mean, the alternative was to give him my rook on g1. I mean, whatever. g4. This is the line. It's pretty cool. Queen a4 check. And queen d4. With the idea of queen d4. Nobody's played c6 here. Bishop d7. The two main moves the computer prefers, nobody played. It's very odd. Bishop d7 best according to the engine. Anyway, that's kind of a fun line I would like to try out one day. But instead we played this. Sorry, instead we played this. Now let's see. Plays the best move. Apparently, it's more common to play e4 here, transposing to something else. And now you're supposed to play knight f3. And he just happens to know this. Bishop takes e5. D takes E5. Queen takes D1 check, and so this guy plays Queen H4 check, which is a TN. G3, Queen E4. Rook G1 only move. Queen takes E5, best move. And now I should play Queen D3 apparently. Well, that's not an easy move to find. Or Queen D2. Queen D2 equal. Knight C3. Now let's see, Knight F6, this was a mistake. Queen C5 right away is slightly more accurate than Knight F6. And I have to play Rook H1. That's nice. It's like white has to, after Queen C5, I have to play Rook H1 instead of E3. Knight F6 again, Queen D3 or Queen D2, I played this. And now I guess I have to play Rook H1 or something. But not being familiar with this position, I didn't really feel the need. But it kind of makes sense anyway. Not to block my bishop, trapping my own bishop as was said. Just losing a piece. Yeah, that's it, man. I'm just losing a piece. I looked at Knight A4, but I don't see the point. He just plays Queen A5 check. And now B4 maybe. I'm still gonna lose a piece. It doesn't do anything, does it? B4, Queen takes. I didn't look at this. I don't understand. Because now I have Queen, what? Queen D4? Rook B1. Computer. And apparently it's not that easy for black. Wow. Well, I'm not an engine. I gave up, man. I lost a piece. I was sort of depressed. Alright. 989. That's what we get for playing the birds opening. Stop try harding. I played C4, but we'll come up with something creative. An early B3. Basically a kind of Larson's opening with C4. That's cool. I like D5. Kind of aggressive. Well, Plukro, it doesn't look that clear. In this one line, I saw, the idea of Knight A4, but I just gave up after Queen A5 check in my analysis. But apparently I can play Queen A5, B4, Queen takes B4, C3, Queen A5, Rook B1 with some kind of compensation. It's sort of understandable that white has some compensation because black doesn't have that much development there. But I was sort of depressed, so I couldn't find the computer line. But it's interesting that that's never been reached in a master game. I bet if we look in ChessBase, that position has probably been played. If we have a better database, I don't have time to... Well, I could turn on the ChessBase and check it out. Hold on a second here. I'm afraid the engine will... lichess will say I'm a computer cheater. I can't check ChessBase while I'm playing. Better avoid screen shifting. We could check later. I just think that variation has probably been encountered in some random games, not Not master games. The lichess Opening Explorer includes just quote-unquote master games with 2,200 players, but probably that Fromm's Gambit has been discussed with some players below master. Or discussed by. Stop Try Harding. You know, we could get like bishop b5, but I don't think it's very effective in this particular position with this conservative e6. We'll just play the hedgehog reversed. Yeah, basically to find that, sacking the whole queen side. Yeah, I don't like the bird's opening, but it's fun to play like once in a while. That might be the first game I've ever lost on lichess with f4. There's a first time for everything. There was a rumor going around. I guess that's over now. I haven't played that many games with f4, probably double digits, under 20. In the teens. The number of games where I've played one f4 on this site is pretty limited. But I was confusing variations. I'm sorry I didn't get to play that variation I wanted with c3. That looks really, really fun. Stop Try Harding. We had another game where he played the opening really well. I don't know what's up with his 989. I mean, 989, that's pretty extremely low. You know, 989s on lichess, Stop Try Harding, normally like just drop pieces and can't, you know, even keep the pawn structure in a kind of normal, sensible, organized way. Stop Try Harding retreated his knight voluntarily back to f6 in order to complete his development on the king's side, which is very, very logical. Mega 2017 has the funky bird opening with bishop g5 instead of rook g1. Okay, it must have been a really bishop g5. What? Stop Try Harding 989, dude. How could he be 989 and play this well in the opening? You're supposed to just drop all your pieces, Stop Try Harding. Or you would be at least 1200. I'm being a little bit sarcastic, but I mean, I'm not dissing him. It's just that, really, I mean, he's playing this opening well. And it's got to be easy to be like 1100. He must have tactical problems. Knight d7. This is actually pretty subtle. And bishop f6, I mean, come on, dude, 989. What is that? This simplification is brilliant. Once I did that against Shabalov, I just like vacuumed all the pieces off the board. The anti-Shabalov. Shabalov made the mistake of playing knight f3 against me. I was like, dude, what are you doing? I was able to just basically hoover all the pieces off, and we ended up in like a knight ending that was a draw or something. Double knight, and I don't remember. Eric Hansen lost to a 100 rated player on chess.com. Oh. Chess.com, the place where you can't even figure out how to like report people for cheating. You have to sign like a sworn affidavit and have it stamped in triplicate by a justice of the peace in order to report someone for cheating on that site. Had to have it signed by a Rook b8. You see, stop try-harding. This is not a 900, man. I mean, this is pretty subtle. I don't know what his deal is, but he's playing like a 2000 right now. Sometimes people have like their friends and stuff. A bunch of people play on the same account. I don't think it's really sporting, but it's not like cheating with a computer. Basically, like, if you have an account, it should really be like one player playing on it, not several. But there's no way that anybody who plays this 20 moves that he's played here with black should be 989. No tactical mistakes. He's very solid. I'm outraged. You're supposed to just lose quickly. Stop try-harding. I'm on tilt after my last game too. My first loss with in the Birds opening. Obviously cheating. Check its profile. Oh, it's really flagged for cheating? Are you kidding me? What are you talking about? It's flagged for computer assistance. What? Really? Are you sure? What are you talking about? I don't see any computer assistance. 989, like, how could he have been flagged for computer assistance? Flying Sky, the guy I played yesterday, he was a little suspicious. He literally played every move. It said he made an inaccuracy, but it wasn't. It was just my computer, like, being really crappy. So he did make a tactical mistake, but like positionally, you know what I mean? Like he's like 2000 positionally. So he must be like 2000 positionally and 500 tactically, which is really hard to come by. People like that. It's fast too. You know, he should at least be able to just flag people to get up to 1300. Recaptures very quickly. Go into his profile and it says he uses computer assistance. Huh. Well, that's not good. Yeah, actually, I think we could be in trouble here. King h8. Yeah, that's a super suspicious move. This is not a 900, dude. I don't know what you're trying to do here. There's something weird about this account. Right. Yeah, it's sort of trolling people. Troll account. Yeah, he instantly finds this only tactical chance. Something's definitely up with this player. I was just kind of joking before, but now it does look suspicious. How can you be 989 and play this well? Like he's at least 1400. Well, maybe 13 at the very minimum. But the coordination of the pieces is excellent. Like literally positionally 2000. Just he overlooks like dropping an outright tactic with knight takes e6. His last game says rating 2474. Ah, they took away his rating or something. I don't understand why he would come to my stream. Like, maybe he's really 989. Still, he's playing strangely. No, it doesn't make sense. You don't play like this when you're 989, dude. You know what I mean? He's doing something weird. Looks like the only try. F5. That's a classic 989 move, actually. That's a typical 989 move. Like everything coordinated. It's typical for a 989. What do I do now? I'm a little bit scared, actually. If I'm tricked into playing f4, he's gonna get play. This is not cool, dude. f4, bishop takes e4. That could be kind of dangerous, or not. Probably have like rook takes g2 or something. But I just don't want to waste my time, you know, like playing with somebody who's not really playing their moves. Or suspicious, yeah, attention seekers, right? Basically trying to troll people's streams. I don't know. It's not a 989. I mean, whatever it is, it's just something weird going on here. So, yeah, even this works for him. Pretty good. Pretty good continuation, actually. To be a little bit careful here. What kind of joke is this, dude? I don't understand. Like, what are you trying to prove? You're just half using a computer, or half the moves you make on your own? Maybe it's better not to even take. Forced mate. Alright, what's the deal here? Seriously. Good game. What are you guys talking about, though, with his profile? But I don't understand what you're talking about. Highest rating 1100. Who's saying all this stuff about... It's a different guy, man. I don't know why you guys make up stuff. It's a different guy. He's never been accused of being a computer. But there is something weird about... There is something weird about the way he plays, okay? It's not the same guy you're referring to, but it's strange. Okay, let's just leave it at that. Like he's using Stockfish level 10 to play, or so, I don't know. You know, I can't really put my finger on it, but it's not a normal account. All right, let's play King Wiki. we'll try e4. We had bad luck with f4. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, you're looking up, yeah, ape and super shape. Thanks for the... We'll get you a job at the FBI now that James Comey's been fired. E4 is c6. Gotta play something original. But there's no way a 900 plays like that guy did. He was like one move away from mating me if I take on f3. Seriously. I know that I'm a conspiracy theorist, but that was just weird. Alright, King Wiki. His opening is perfect. Well, you can't be 900 and play a perfect opening. Period. End of story. That's enough evidence for a conviction. Conviction of what? I'm not quite sure. Conviction of something. Something funny. So I played Queen f3. This is kind of weird sideline. I thought we'd have a little bit of fun with it. He was checkmated in 7 moves. I know, the people are doing crazy stuff. But anyway, I just won't play him anymore. I mean, it's a waste of time. Not because he's 900, because he's doing something strange. Everyone's welcome to play of any rating here. Alright, now knight f6. Interesting choice against my queen f3. What would Asa Hoffman do? I mentioned Asa Hoffman because he plays like the Dunst opening. This could come out of a Dunst opening. In fact, probably often would. Alright, I decided to try something funky here. This is kind of in the spirit of this primitive threats against f7. Not my normal style for sure. Yeah, obviously these people are all borrowing Magnus's account name, but that's where the confusion begins. But why would anybody want to use an engine to play a casual game, you know? I think they think it's some kind of training tool, like let's play against the streamer using Stockfish 10. I mean, you know, like level 10, like the minimum level. Oh no. I did some kind of psychic pull, like I made him do knight takes e4. I don't know, it was some kind of... Wow, is this opening ever been played? Yeah. Luis Gallego against Swinkles. Ryazantsev had a game. Maybe I played the best move here. Yeah, bishop c4. Bishop c4 is the bomb. It's definitely the best move in this position. And immediately, yeah, he needs to play knight on bd7. It's threatening knight g5. When black should be fine. Guys, we need more challenges. What's up? PM Potato Master. He played knight takes e4. The second best move. Weird openings are just getting to people today. We've had some silly games. Let's try this. But not just your everyday modern defense. I have played a few games of this opening. Aw man, come on. You're supposed to do like d4. No, actually, let's do this. I don't know what this is called. It probably has a name. It's kind of like the Alekhines defense, but the other day I had a game that was like knight b6, c4, knight d5, c4, knight b6, c5. And when I looked it up in the database, there are some pretty marginalish characters who play this line with black. Kuprejcik. But what I think I noticed was some weird move, like you're supposed to do they do knight h5. I think Nepomniachtchi actually played this. Things are weird on Wednesdays. Yeah, so I was a little surprised. This is a real opening. Jan Nepomniachtchi has played this. I saw some other names too. It's some sort of like real variation. Now the question is, do we put the knight on f4? Probably not, right? I mean, it's just exposed to attack, and I'm gonna get driven away. So no brainer here. Knight g7. It's a positional line. Hyper-accelerated knight fianchetto. The problem is I don't have too much pressure on his center. But I think we should really play h5. I've been known to be wrong, though. Could be again. It would be nice to attack his center classically, but I think maybe I'm wrong, Maybe I upped a screwed. Shit, I should play d6 first. Because that's annoying for him to have to defend against the threat of bishop takes g4. It's probably more accurate to do d6 first, and then he does h3 or rook g1. It's still not the end of the world for white, though. It's not that big a deal. He just plays rook g1 or h3, and then h5, rook g1, and continues about his business. Maybe my move is better. Now there's no h3, and rook g1 allows the structure. I'm a genius, in short. Oh, this is the North Sea? Okay. North Sea is like the German fast food place in the shopping center that charges like $30 for a tiny piece of salmon. This like really overpriced fast food fish place. North Sea. Wow, pawn sacrifice. Well, first of all, I'm going to just wreck your structure. I guess we're not that concerned about the material aspect of this. It's all about pawn structure. Potato Master, he doesn't seem concerned about structure too much. But the knight is nice, admittedly, on g5. I mean, pulling the trigger on f6. For that matter, I can play f5. It feels creepy to me to play f5. f6. He doesn't have a lot of places to put his knight, the fact of the matter is. But there are other complications. f6 allows some very nasty business. Involving threats to my g6 pawn. Maybe it would be wiser in this position to seek some sort of developmental move. I've played this before, but I never played knight h5 before. As I mentioned earlier, I previously played Alekhine's defense style with knight to d5. Alright, now I take here. And my gut instinct was that black is kind of, well, better structurally, obviously. But Potato Master, pretty dangerous. Sharp play. Don't pay 4,000 forints to eat at North Sea in the shopping center. It's just not worth it. You guys can check out my restaurant reviews on my other channel. Now, please check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. Video Chess Training on YouTube. We upload all the streams there and other good stuff. Every time I say that, it reminds me of Dmitry Reinderman, who on ICC, I think his account was, what was it? Oh man, I need some ginkgo biloba. Damn it, I can't remember. It's gonna ruin the whole joke. But it had something to do with being the Grim Reaper. Some name that was involving Grim Reaper. It wasn't Grim Reaper though. Something else. And he was like, yeah, I collect souls and other useful stuff. What do we do now? That knight is driving me nuts. We can play like f6 or just trade it off straight away. Oh, man. Potato Master. Potato Master's like gonna flag me here. I better wake up and smell the coffee. Actually, I need another coffee. Nordsee. I guess it's German. German fast food chain. That's actually a funny concept. Fast seafood. Very rare to find a fast food seafood place. I mean, of the chain variety. When I was a little kid, it existed. But I think they went out of business. It's called Arthur Treacher's. And in fact, it might even be like a British thing. Are there any British people here who remember something called that? There was a seafood, fast food place. Arthur Treacher's. Man, we've got all kinds of threats against C2. Is that C2? Is that what it's called? We should just go for it right away. Oh no. Oh no. Does it work? He's got a defense to that. Alright. First things first. Long John Silver's. Okay, but Long John Silver's... We're having a very strange conversation here today. But anyway, I'm going to go with it. Long John Silver's, is it really a fast food place? You know? I've never been to Long John Silver's, but I think that it's more of like a kind of family restaurant. Not really fast food. Not quite the same. About to lose on time, which is always good. I'm on a tactical rampage. Rampaging. Reaper Man, yeah. Collector of souls and other useful stuff. But he got the Reaper Man from Reindeer Man. It sounds cooler than Reindeer Man, right? But it's nice to see a Grandmaster who's cool and has a sense of humor. Because it's really hard. Really hard to come by. Oh no. Bluff raise. I'm not afraid of ghosts. Potato Master coming at me with everything he's got. John Fedorovich. think a lot. Think about all you got. It's apparently some kind of really, really cheesy 70s or 80s song. That was his advice to me. A very important tournament. My ex chess roommate, one of them. We used to go to tournaments together with Fed. We'd always stock the sink with beer. Once he almost killed me for stealing one of his beers. It's a very, very ugly scene. Alright, we are back talking about all kinds of weird stuff today. Long John Silver's, did it ever? Is it actually a fast food? There are no servers, okay. It's more like a kind of, well, that's, yeah, like a kind of buffet style, or is it really? I've never been to Long John Silver's. I guess I need to try it. Yeah, that's basically the Arthur Treacher's thing. Alright, good to know. So no British people who know about Arthur Treacher's. I'm really dating myself. I remember being a little kid, like 6 years old, and that was a thing. They had one in the shopping center, in the shopping mall. Blue Crow, 5+3. Unusual openings. Why no chess 960 today? Oh, we can't do that. It's unusual openings day. Right. Alright, we're going to play e4. We're going to try to play something fun. Okay, so it technically counts as fast food. I'll let it go. It's part of the PepsiCo Corporation, probably. Isn't like KFC owned by Taco Bell? It used to all be Pepsi. Okay, D5. Oh, yes. The elephant. Man, there's this guy, this Russian GM, who actually plays this seriously. I was looking at it again. Blue Crow. You gotta be crazy to play that at like the GM level. You're not playing with a full deck. So I have to play Queen E2. Would be good to play this first, probably. We had one other game with Blue Crow where we followed the key theory. So I think I played Knight C3 last time, if I remember correctly. It's reminiscent of the Albin counter gambit. Where's Constant Change today? Speaking of people who play the Albin counter gambit, I haven't played any. Well, are we following the same game? I should finish one sentence at a time, I realize, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Are we following the same game we played last time, Blue Crow? Because I remember noting that apparently that had been played by some pretty serious dudes. D3? D3 seems logical. What am I doing? No, but this isn't cool. I just dropped my pawn. You misplayed it. Oh yeah, I'm up a pawn. I'm up 2 pawns. I can give one back. That's cool. That's what I thought. Did I tell you guys the story the other day that I almost like resigned in my tournament game because I thought I blundered mate in 1 because my arm was like blocking the rook that was defending the mate in 1, and I didn't see it for a moment, and I started to think that I was just like hanging mate in 1, and I picked up my bishop that I had to move, and if I moved it anywhere there was this mate in 1, but I couldn't see over through my arm, and I forgot the rook was defending the square. I literally, like, it crossed my mind to actually resign. And thank God I didn't. But Blue Crow, Who is this psychopathic grandmaster who plays this opening for black? Awful Arthur's Seafood Company? There was Arthur Treacher's. I think I saw it not that long ago again. It didn't have a good advertising campaign. It was really weird. But I had the feeling it was something British that had like been imported to the United States. We need a Brit here to confirm. And someone preferably at least like 40 or so. It's now under an umbrella company called Yum Yum. You can have my souls. What? What are you talking about? Are we still on Raiderman? Collector of souls and other cool stuff. You got to admit the Dutch grandmasters are probably some of the coolest GMs in the world. I can't say that for most. Just Dutch chess players in general seem pretty cool. I wonder if we should just say Dutch people. I wonder if Stefan is still watching. But there's a number of the Dutch GMs on ICC that seem pretty cool. Sundiberg, Hansen, Reinderman. I stopped playing on that site since like a year and a half ago. Blue Crow, you're going crazy, man. Look how conveniently we just castle right out of it. He's going to come with like bishop f4 now. Please don't play bishop f4. I'm terrified that might happen. No, he's going totally postal on me. f4. Evacuate. Peace sacrifices on e3. So anyway, there is this Russian grandmaster whose name totally escapes me, who actually plays this opening for black, the Elephant Gambit. Mark Hebden, my friend, English grandmaster and essayer of the Elephant Gambit in Blitz, prefers to play bishop d6. And I think Johnny Hector plays that too. But this e4 looks a little bit more legitimate, to be honest. I mean, I saw one game where this said grandmaster, he got a pretty reasonable position against another top 2,500 rated player. He lost the pawn, but he had like compensation with black, kind of like Blue Crow here has sort of like a normal position where he's just down a pawn with compensation. Do I grab a pawn here? Should I play like more conservative move? Bishop d5 line is against 95. No, I mean you can play it right away, Blue Crow. I mean, I saw Hebden do that live. I mean, I've looked at it, you know, a little bit, but I think that both are possible. I guess queen b3, black has some response. I just want to get out of the pin, you know. But maybe I should just go back to e4, come to think of it. Now he doesn't have any pressure on f3. Not too much, anyway. Because if queen b3, he had knight a5. He could just play king h8. I don't know, taking the pawn on b7. Finally, I rejected it because of knight a5, I guess. But knight e4 looks much better. Wow. Bishop h6, uncompromising. Uncompromising and totally bordering on the psychotic. Yeah, maybe I should have. Maybe I should have played queen b3 straight away. It was actually. Well, I mean, knight e4 is still a good move. The question is what to do now. If he plays knight a5, he's decentralizing that piece. Not sure what's going on here. I have to be really careful, actually. This is a little bit dead. The bishop on h6. But what to do? Snapping that pawn? Seems a little greedy. Guess I got a little too greedy. Just go back. Damn, dude. That black's coordination is unbelievable here. I've underestimated him a little bit. Skachkov, that's it. So this guy's Skachkov. Bishop takes f3 right away. Man, this is an issue. We have an issue. I have to be really careful here. The bishop's hanging with check, and d3's hanging. Well, there's always queen d1. And anyway, we have to maintain the f3 square. I've actually never played chess in the Netherlands. Oddly enough, after living in Europe for 13 years, but I wasn't playing a lot of chess, period. It's time. It's time to close it down. I don't want this business anymore along the f-file. I'm going to take my chances here with closing the position with g4. At the risk of slightly weakening my king side, it's probably... Ooh, did I have g5 last move? Winning a piece? Probably. But we're... Seems like we're pretty good to go now. Maybe I should have taken the opportunity to play g5 there. Winning a piece, basically. I'm also not certain that I did the right thing the last move. Oh my god. Gonna blunder something again. g4 was hanging. I'm a little slow tactically here today and every day. It's like a Marshall. It's basically like a Marshall gambit. A kind of like, it's like the this opening is like sort of little brother of the Marshall gambit. Slower stepbrother. Somewhere along the line, Plu sacrificed a second pawn. Or lost it. He doesn't really have enough here. Who is attacking who? You had that. Oh, that's the trick. Alright. You're not going to take back with a rook. And then you sidestep all those nasty threats. Oh man, welcome to the diagonal. Let me be the first to welcome you. Let me be the first to welcome you to that. diagonal and preempting me. Still not that easy to finish him off. I would definitely prefer some sort of like rook ending. Oh no. Guys, we have another half an hour to play. You can watch the Blue Crow game. Did I get the opening even close to right here? For a second, I thought I made a mistake. You know, here, it's more popular to play d3. But I don't know why I prefer to play knight c3 first. So you got like Movsesian and Vachier, Gayam versus Skachkov 1-0, Pankratov versus Skachkov 1-0. You know, and poor Skachkov managed to salvage a draw against Kadzioka, which isn't bad. So it's a pawn sacrifice, and Skachkov, I think I looked at the game with Pankratov, come to think of it. And against Pankratov, he had like some sort of compensation. So here I created new theory, but apparently it's a very bad move, g3. A bad novelty. Wow, it's kind of natural, but I guess it's just too slow. So we have to do as Movsesian did, queen back to d1, and just bishop e2. So this is a bad new idea. And Blue Crow played knight c6, but he's supposed to play f5. Wow, f5 just really creates a lot of problems. You got rook e8. Ugh, I overlooked it. Then I'm gonna have to play queen d1 and like play bishop e2 anyway after having played g3. So that was bad. All right, we've got a challenge from an unrated, or no, he's rated. All right, Advapon and Loris. We'll try to play 2 more games if I can today. But no blank. The Netherlands might be a great place to clinch your final GM. Norman, you're ready. I'm not ready. First, I need to get a decent rating. I was thinking about this in terms of the tournament I'm going to. I was talking about this yesterday. My rating is too low. I'm like 2382 now. My max rating officially was 2463, probably a little higher unofficially, like around 2470. So if I could get back to like 2460, it would go a long way to improving my pairings when I play in an open tournament. I'm at a bad place where, like when I go to Zalakaros next week, I'm gonna basically, you know, like get very few pairings like where I get paired down. I'm gonna be playing, like, I'm never gonna get paired with a 2200 who's like easy to beat, basically. I'm just never gonna get one of these guys who's 2190, 2200, 2250. I'm never gonna get paired with those guys unless I have a disaster tournament where I'm doing really bad. And I think that's the easiest way to perform like 2600 is just keep pounding on like 2200s, like one after another one after another one. You just beat 9 2200s in a row, or something like that, you know, and you could do it. But with my rating, it's too low. I'm never going to get paired with those guys. Instead, I'm going to be playing like GMs and 2500 IMs. All right, let's see. If I can increase my rating, that'll be the first step to get over 2450 FIDE. And then I'm going to get better pairings in the future tournaments. And I think that should increase my chances. You have to be at least 2,500 to get the GM title, have reached 2,500, and unfortunately I was kind of overconfident and didn't protect my rating when I was relatively close. If I had milked it, I could have made it probably. But I was just like, whatever, I'll just keep playing, and then I lost like 100 rating points. Bishop e2. It's kind of quiet. I mean, I think, honestly, bishop d3 is more common. That's not true, though. They're both moves. Actually, bishop e3 is another move. This was played against me by Alex Straponsky. Maybe that's more accurate, actually. I don't know. They're all possible. Bishop e2, bishop d3, bishop e3. The 2,500 rating nowadays equal to, let's say, 1970s, 80s? I don't know. I mean, I guess. I mean, it's just impossible to compare. I mean, there's so much more theoretical knowledge now. Overall, strength is probably the same, but maybe that strength exists in different places than it did. Like, people are probably worse in the endgame now and much stronger in opening theory. So, you might encounter 2,500s whose endgame technique is awful, but their theoretical knowledge of the opening is like, was world class back in the 80s. Knight a3 right away. This is a pretty logical move. I'm supposed to play maybe queen d8 here, I'm thinking. Should I take on d4, knight b5, queen d8, bishop f4, knight d5? Is that a line? It's a little more common to see knight a3 right away in this position rather than bishop e2. I once lost to Boros Danish in like 6 moves or something. I fell for some sort of trap that, ironically, Grandmaster Istvan Cham had fallen for like 30 years ago. Knight a3 with bishop e2. A bit of a strange order. I guess I can just play queen d8. I don't really know what else to do. There's no, obviously, knight a6. Knight a6 is how I got in trouble against Boros Danish. There's no option for knight a6 here. That's one of the reasons why I guess they play knight a3 right away. And this is a variation. Seems to me that's how I lost. Some combination of those moves. I still don't know how I could lose in 7 moves, but you can look it up. Castles. And what is this? I guess I have to take. Obscure variation, I'm not really, I've never seen this. I never really know what to do against the c3 Sicilian. I've experimented with 5 different systems over a 30-year period, and I really never really could convince myself which one I like the best. Isn't this your main repertoire against c3 Sicilian? I don't think I have a main repertoire. I played d5 with e6, d5 with g6, d5 with bishop g4. I've played d5 with bishop f5. I've played g6 on move. Weird other g6 systems. I've played knight f6. So that's my whole problem, is that I don't really have a main line. I've messed around with too many variations, and I never really settled on one. Okay, I don't know what this is. This looks like the first game I played with this player. He's 2000 blitz, 2000 bullet. I've never seen this. He has no threat other than just recapturing on d4. But it's like a temptation to grab this pawn on c3 is the big question, you know. Take, queen takes, king takes. I've never seen this in my life. But it looks like a kind of reasonable pawn sack. So maybe we should just screw it, you know? Give him the pawn back. I'll look it up after, and then we'll know for sure. I'm not sure bishop d7 is even the best either. But it's a good chance this transposes some sort of known variation. I don't know if I'm supposed to take. And if I did take, how does he recapture? You know, with his queen kind of helps him, no? C3 Sicilian is my worst opening statistically, and it's because I haven't really committed to one line. Recently, I wanted to go back and take a really deep look at knight f6. In his book, this is a book I've talked about a lot. Revolution in the 70s. It should be called Revolution in the 70s and 80s. Kasparov discusses opening theory and the development of opening theory in the last 2 decades. Basically, he spends quite a bit of time talking about the C3 Sicilian and the different variations that are possible there. Sveshnikov, who I lost to in the FIDE or PCA Rapid in 1993 in the C3 Sicilian. E6 variation with knight a3. Actually, Yevgeny played... he played... Let's see. He played knight a3 against me in this position right away. I ended up with one of those knights on a6 that kind of like never gets into the game, and I was tied down to the a7 pawn. It was very unpleasant, but Sveshnikov has really done a lot to make the C3 Sicilian work. I don't know anything about this player who I'm playing here. He's provisional in classical chess with 6,000 bullet games. One of the problems with the C3 Sicilian is honestly, like, you can see this position here. Now he's clearly better. What am I going to do? Where is he? But I could teach anybody. I could teach my mom, you know, who doesn't even know the rules of chess, how to play the C3 Sicilian and get an equal position against the master, or, you know, have a really safe game in 5 minutes. You know, I mean, it's just an extremely extremely easy to play line that's like white, you know, white can get a perfectly reasonable game with very little effort, and it's just easy to play. Look at this position. He has like no risk against a stronger player. He didn't do anything special. He didn't even play like the critical line, and still I'm struggling to like equalize. Yeah, I know Kovacevic played it a lot. I know Levente Vaida, Tivyakov. I mean, Sveshnikov, though, you know, this is a guy who's... These guys, you've got to understand this theory was all being developed long before Kovacevic came along, and you know, they picked up from a certain point and started to go even deeper, you know, I mean, but most of the theory, the main critical lines were established even like 20 or 25, 30 years ago. It's a strange concept, this whole safest Sicilian, yeah. Recently, wasn't it Catronius wrote like the safest Scandinavian or something like that? That's dumb. Like, nobody plays a hyper-modern opening like the Scandinavian or the Sicilian for the safety factor, you know. It's not going to top the bestseller list if you give it a title like that, the safest Sicilian. The safest Scandinavian. Obviously, I play the Sicilian because I want a safe position. Not. Sveshnikov goes further. He argues that the Sicilian is clearly black's best move, which is pretty extreme. I mean, I don't think I would say that. Sveshnikov actually literally argues that e4 c5 is the best move for black. It's a little bit off the deep end, you know. I mean, it seems to me that e4 e5 has to be black's best move. He said that after e4 e5, I don't know, the black pawn on e5 is weak or something. He's just trying to justify his favorite opening, which is the Sicilian Sveshnikov. So, I think the Sicilian is an inherently risky opening, where we're going against classical principles by not establishing a pawn directly in the center. Probably the safest opening is safest. Is maybe like the French defense, and second would be e4 e5, and then like the Caro-Kann. If you want to be safe, you play something that doesn't take too much space but gives you a solid position. Maybe e4 e5. But arguing that Sicilian is the best move, I don't know. You're neglecting your kingside development. It's very inherently risky. We all try to justify our favorite openings. A few moves ago, I was a little nervous about knight b5 after queen b3. Rook b8. This was key. But it looks like I had queen c5 there. I had looked at queen b6, bishop f4, and gotten scared. But apparently I had queen c5. Still not clear though, to me, 100%. But at this point we're out of the woods on the way to grandmother's house. More or less. Played the minority attack type of game here. Kind of double-edged because he has a queenside majority that could, and often does, become a passed pawn on the queen side. But still, all my pieces are in this area, you know, and we're going to try to play like a5 and expand and maybe break his pawn structure with b4. Perhaps white should have considered playing. Now he wants to go bishop f4. Maybe this is the safest Sicilian. Maybe not. Probably not. He missed bishop f4 there. It just wins a pawn. I'm pretty groggy tactically today. Why do I always see good moves for the other guy? You know, that's what I don't understand. This move rook c8, it's kind of passive. What am I trying to prove with that? What is my plan here? Let's just play knight d5. That's better. We might be able to play knight b6 and knight c4. Still, it's only a tiny bit better for black. There are some tactics. Knight takes e6. Knight takes e3. Oh man. Let's not go there. Let's say we did. He had knight f5 possibly. Solid player. Not really sure what my plan is here, other than trying to execute a minority attack on the queen side, which is proving more and more difficult. He suddenly increased in speed. He suddenly can move instantly. Every single move. Did you notice the increase in speed? It's a good thing we didn't play any rated games with this guy. I was like almost winning the move before. If I take on c5, I only rejected this because of bishop e3. I was afraid of a draw, but it was a false fear. I didn't realize I had his knight trapped, and it's lost for white probably. Okay, anyway, settled by time pressure. I didn't want to draw there. I mean, I was trying to win, and then I thought I'll try something different, but it didn't work. White moves every third second. He's pretty fast for a guy who's 2,000, but nothing special. I don't think he was cheating. I just think that it was surprising to me, you know, how he got in time pressure and he played so quickly. He handled the increment. He seemed to speed up, which was surprising. At the end, he actually got faster in time pressure than he was playing before. But no problem. I just didn't want to draw. I thought that variation was a draw, so I avoided it. But I blundered. Played really well at the end. In the ending. Last game for today, guys. And most people sort of melt down in increment. He actually got faster, which I would expect from someone who is a really professional blitz player, like 2200 or plus. But given his rating, I was a little surprised how fast he could play an endgame like that. Let's try something different. Early b6. Most common is c5 here. This has been played by Jan Elvest. Other strong players. Try for greeting from Argentina. Mr. Betunasso. Greetings. So we can transpose to a Nimzovician sort of c5 approach. I think that maybe here White can consider bishop g5, and also, of course, f3, transposing to an f3 Nimzo. The last game, kind of a typical c3 Sicilian. Just degenerated in blitz. I mean, it was a drawn position where neither side should really have won, but we both made a lot of mistakes in the increment in a relatively equal endgame. I didn't have time to see that I would have trapped his bishop. That would be very, very strong. Now, if I play c5 here, he could play d5, which isn't dangerous for black, obviously. You can also play d5, but I don't have very good results in these types of structures. If I wanted to play d5, I would play d5 on move 1. That's my working theory. A lot of games I've lost in the last year or so have something in common. The fact that I'm playing d5 in Indian defense positions. I'm playing Indian defense positions with a later d5, and it seems to be something that I struggle with. Not being a Queen's Gambit decline player, I seem to have trouble in structures where I later have to play this move. I don't feel that comfortable. I feel more comfortable in this type of blockade structure. However, here we have a third option to play knight c6. And this could actually transpose to a later, to c5. Like c5, knight c6, followed by knight a5. We play knight a5 first. There's a very famous game from, I think, Zurich, 1953. I guess it was Geller won a Samish Nimzo. Classic game. I don't remember who this was against. Maybe somebody else does. Where black gets the knight on a5, bishop on a6, snaps the pawn on c4, but white got a really, really strong attack. I don't remember. Does anybody know that game off the top of their head? Zurich, 1953, one of the most famous tournaments in history. Black loses in a Samish Nimzo. I think it was Geller White against somebody, but I can't remember now who it was he was playing against. Somebody super strong, obviously, in Zurich 53. That's the one situation that black has to be careful about in these type of blockade positions, where you're snapping this pawn and then white's getting some kind of really strong kingside attack in return. Here, however, I mean, white's setup is fairly slow. He hasn't played f3, he doesn't have e4. He has a kind of passive formation. He would like to play e4. Here at this point now, I talked about not being comfortable with d5, but it's not to say I should never play d5. I think that I'm a tempo up on some classic positions here. But how could I have gained a tempo? It's impossible. Impossible that I gained a tempo. Oh, maybe this is just normal. Move order is usually different. I think just the fact that I played knight a5 so early, rather than my normal sort of setup with c5, is playing tricks with my memory. Kotov, another famous game. Yeah, there may have been more than one. Usually when one opening is discussed in a major tournament like that, oftentimes there are people who will tend to follow the same line again, become like a thematic position for a particular tournament. This particular setup here, White's queen is in a sort of vulnerable position on the c-file. Usually this is difficult to execute for black, but looks like a perfect situation for rook c8. He doesn't have d5. And like pawn takes pawn obviously decimates his pawn structure. Who knows? Maybe he could do it, but we're lining up tactics on the c-file, and the bishop on c1 is really bad strategically. So this is kind of a model position for black. Let me see. So Geller against Uva probably. Well, whatever the game was, black should win. What's the result? Why don't I see a result? 0-1. Let me see. Was the pawn snapped on c4? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so, Plucro. Thinking of a different game. Yeah, that's a nice game, but that's not it. Not the one I was thinking of. So can we just take on d4? We even can play d5 here. But that actually, now it looks really strong. I mean, also strong is pawn takes pawn. I guess c takes, followed by bishop takes c4. It's simpler for black to play c takes d, bishop takes c4, and then whichever way he recaptures, we just capture again and then play like d5. Although at the end of the day, it looks like he might be able to win his pawn back with queen a4 and queen takes a7. So who knows? Another piece of advice, don't like pin yourself with knight takes c4 if you're ever black in this kind of nimzo. So his bishop is pretty sad. A sad guy. He doesn't have very much compensation here. Now, should I take on d4? I'm not sure. Guess we can keep it simple. Just being able to recapture here with the piece. And my plan is to get rid of this guy with the other knight back to d7. You don't want to leave a piece in general outposted on the 5th rank in your position. This is something that Gingiashvili sort of taught to me. Roman was always like, get rid of that. It's an intuitive kind of thing. Get rid of that knight when it's in your face. Here, I'm just going to take this situation now. A little bit of calculation might be necessary. I could play knight d7. We can just trade bishops and play knight c4 straight away. Should be looking for other tactics, but I don't see anything. Bishop b3. Bishop b3 is close to something. We're close to something here tactically. Bishop a2 is even possible. Pretty insane idea. I don't see any sort of forced wins. It's kind of a frustrating position where it looks like there should be a discovery. You can just imagine anything you want. I mean, bishop b3, bishop a6, bishop b5, whatever. And it just doesn't look like I have anything. Bishop b3. Wait a second. Bishop b3. Yeah, I'm looking at like queen d3, bishop c2, queen a6, for example. And still I don't have a knockout. And I'm just up a pawn, so it's silly to go into any kind of complications here for black. We should be able to just win with technique. Frustrating situation. I don't see anything better than simplifying. The goal would be to play like against a bad bishop on b2. Rubinstein Mises. Rubinstein Nimzos. There's no Samish Nimzos. Could have been an f3. You know, Samish can be transposed from f3. That's weird. Man, I was pretty sure. That's strange. Oh, it could be. Can it be reached to Rubinstein like a delayed a3? It could be a delayed a3. That's possible. This is a good move, knight d3. Excellent practical move, avoiding exchanges when down a pawn. That's a damn good idea. Most people wouldn't find it. Not that easy for me. Okay, the file is obviously important, but I'm also thinking in terms of putting my queen here, probing the white squares a little bit. Not just probing the white squares, but guarding my white squares, because in a lot of lines this queen was coming down on a6. It's a weak square. Chess wrap. Queen c7 here. Thank you guys for watching today. We're going to be back tomorrow with more Blitz and Classical Chess. Geller, so I think it was a Geller loss. That's what I'm talking about. A Geller loss with black. Oh, queen. Queen trade, please. Forced trade of queens. Maybe I can screw up the endgame in time pressure like the last one. It always seems to be a long grind whenever I have one of these endgames with, let's say, alright, this is fortunate that he blundered. Let's say knight versus bishop endgames seem to be long grinds for me. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us here today. We had fun. Some unusual openings. Sorry I didn't remember to play an unusual opening here in the last game. I I went traditional and didn't stay on the theme. Geller had black. I'm pretty sure. Am I lying to you now? Yeah, maybe I'm lying to you. Actually, Blue Crow, I'm not sure. This is going to be a mystery. Geller had black. Maybe Geller didn't even play the Nimzo, did he? I'm not sure now. I forgot. No, Geller must have been white, and maybe I messed up, and I thought it was Zurich 1953, but it was a different tournament. That's weird. I can almost see the book, but it's possible that I'm lying to you. I can't imagine what else it was then if it wasn't Zurich 53. I have to check for sure. No, I guess Geller wasn't black. I guess Geller was white. It makes more sense. Yeah. It doesn't make sense Geller was black. Geller was white. It was a Nimzo, but maybe it wasn't Zurich 1953. Sorry for the inaccurate information. We will see you guys later. Thanks for joining us here. Sorry to create a chess mystery, but yeah, that's a classic game. Was it Capablanca? He definitely didn't play in Zurich 1953. It definitely wasn't Geller Capablanca. Alright, anyway, the mystery will remain a mystery for a while. We will be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. CET, with classical and blitz chess here on lichess and Twitch. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Blue Crow, for your researches into my misconceptions. Anyway, fun games today, guys. Thanks again. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. It's all my streams that I've uploaded over there, along with some other instructional videos that I create every week or so. So check it out, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.